You want to add up the sum of the salaries but by department. Now there are a few ways to do this. The noobs would just go sum, and because we have customer support here, they would select the sum of the customer support only and hit enter. But this is extremely manual and is not feasible if there is a lot of data. The second option is to use the sum if formula. We select the range, we select the criteria, and we select the sum range. Now this way it is going to give you the correct answer based on the department that you select. But what if you need to find the sum of the manager's salary in the accounts department? Here you can use the sum ifs formula. We select the sum range, we select the criteria range for the department, and we select the criteria, which is the department here, followed by a comma. We select the second criteria range, followed by the second criteria. Now if you hit enter, it's only going to give you the accounts manager's salary. So here in this case, we have two accounts executives. So if I switch this to executive, it's going to give you the sum of those two executives. Hey noob, can you tell me how many employees we have as soon as possible? 1, 2, 3.
1 hour later.
15. Hey bro, can you tell me how many employees we have? Sure, I'm just going to use the count formula and select the entire salary per month column and hit enter. But bro, why didn't you select the name column? Well, if I select the name column using the count formula, it's going to give me 0. If I do want to select the name column, I just have to use the count A formula, and now it's going to give me the same answer. You want to find the department designation and salary of a given employee. All you have to do is start with the index formula, select the array as the entire table where the results are present, lock it in with the F4. Now the second thing we need is the row number. Instead of entering the row number, we're going to use the match function. Under match, the first thing we are looking for is the lookup value, which is Michael. The second thing we are looking for is the lookup array, which is the name column. And the third thing we want to make sure is type 0 for the exact match. The third part of the index formula is to find the column number. Again, we're going to use the match function. This time we're looking up the department. The department designation and salary are present up here. So the lookup array is going to be the column headers. And once again, we're going to use 0 for exact match. If I now drag this down, I'm going to get all of the information for Michael. If I switch Michael to anyone else, it's going to give me that employee's details. Like if you learn something new, and follow for more. We want to extract the employee number, which is the last 6 digits from this employee ID. We also want the department, which is the first 2 letters of the employee ID. We then want to find the designation from the employee ID. MR is manager, AM is assistant manager, and EX is executive. The noobs would start typing each of these things, but there is a way simpler way to do this. You start with using the right formula, select the string. We need the last 6 digits. For the department, we need the first 2 letters from the employee ID. So we use the left formula, use the string, first 2 characters. For the designation, we're going to use the mid formula, use the same string, enter the start number. C would be first, S would be second, the hyphen would be third, and A would be the fourth. So we want to start with the 4th character. And then it's the number of characters from the 4th character. So we want to say 2. Now it's as simple as dragging it down. Ranking data in Excel can be very important. I'll show you 3 different methods to do this. The simplest but least functional is to use the min and max function. The min function shows us the smallest value from a range, and the max function shows us the largest value from a range. We can also use the rank formula to get the rank of that particular item from a given table range. So we're going to select the number first, select the entire range, and drag it down. Now this shows you that this particular number is the second ranked item from this column range. Now let's say I want to find the second largest item from this column. I can use the large formula, select the array, and select my rank. If I hit enter, it's going to tell you that this is the second largest item from my range. Similarly, I can also use the small formula to show me the second smallest item from my range. Now if I switch this to 3, it's going to show me the same item because we only have 5 items in the range, and the third smallest and the third largest is the middle item. Like if you learn something new, and follow for more. If you've ever planned a party, what's the first thing that you do? If you answered jump on Excel, then you're right. If you did not, then you're wrong. So I did jump on Excel as you would and created my guest list. But just before I ordered the food for my 10 guests, I luckily realized just in time that I had listed few of my friends more than once. But also luckily, the fix was quite easy. All I did was use the unique formula, selected my array, and I got the correct list of names. Here are 3 different formulas that you have to know to make your Excel dates easier to deal with. Use the today formula to get the current date. Use the now formula to get the current date as well as time. And believe it or not, this is actually a date. In fact, it is the same date as the date present here. You have 2 options with this. Option 1 is to use Ctrl+Shift+3 to convert it into a date format, or if you would like to have this number as it is in this column, what you can then do is use the N formula and select this to get the date in return in this field. I wanted to find the profit margin. To do this, I went to the gross profit and divided it by the expenses. I got the result, but when I dragged this across to Q3 and Q4, I got this really ugly looking error. Now I don't want to delete this because then if I want to enter in details here, I will not have a dynamic table. So what I did instead is go into the formula bar and add an if error formula to this already existing percentage formula. We leave this formula here if the formula does not return an error, and if it does return an error, we will use 2 double quotes so that Excel knows not to display anything if there is indeed an error present. So now if I select all the columns and press Ctrl R, and as you can see, even though there is nothing present in the cell, I still have a formula up here in the formula bar. So now if I have data entered into these cells, then I am in fact going to get a result. Imagine you have one Excel set of data here and a completely different set of data here. If you need to get the salary per month information here, you can't really use VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP or XLOOKUP. Why? Because the reference information, the lookup value is different. In this case, we have the name, and in this case, we have the employee number. What we can do instead is use the indirect function and link it to the cell reference where the salary per month is actually present. Hit enter, and now you can see that we have the salary per month for every single employee by name. Here is an Excel feature that is going to save you an incredible amount of time. If you are in one of the other sheets in Excel and you need to link back to this credit column total, what would you do? Don't go typing equal to and then searching for the cell and then giving the reference. This takes a lot of time and is very inconvenient. What you can do instead is rename this cell to credit total, and now literally anywhere in your Excel workbook you can just say equal to credit total and hit enter, and you're going to get that result. If you press Ctrl and F3, you're going to get the name manager where you can see all of the different names that you've assigned to your cells. Should I insert a pie chart to show off this table? How do I find the profit margin? Should I insert some trend lines? You know what? Don't worry yourself with any of those questions. When you go up to the home section of your ribbon, there is an option called Analyze Data. Click on it and you're going to get this pop-up. It's going to give you pivot tables, it's going to give you bar graphs, it's going to give you trends, it's going to give you pie charts, it's going to give you a lot of different options. But not only that, it's also going to give you suggested questions that you might be wondering yourselves. When you click on ask a question, it's going to give you further suggested questions. But if none of that suits your fancy, you can just ask a question and it's going to give you the answer to your question based on its understanding of the table.